Thank you. It's an absolute privilege for me to have the opportunity to talk about federalism in India. Has India lost its spirit of federalism? With four illustrious speakers who've been an active participant in shaping the nature of India's federal bargain and fighting for the spirit of federalism for India. My job as moderator is to throw out sets of provocations in the hope that all of you will respond to really enrich this debate. So let me start on the nature of the fiscal architecture. The Constitution has been often characterized as imagining a relatively centralized fiscal architecture. Some call it the one-third, two-third problem, in that the bulk of fiscal monetary powers rest with the Union, but the bulk of expenditure powers rest with the states, creating, in ideal world, conditions for cooperation, but in not so ideal worlds, conditions for dependency of states on the center. How do you interpret the Constitution's framing of the fiscal architecture for India?
First of all, thanks for inviting me and having me be part of this wonderful panel. Look, I think I'll just step back a little bit. I think at the heart of the notion of federalism is some component of every person's desire for self-determination and a place at the table where big decisions are made. I mean, that's really what federalism is all about. Nobody should be dictating my outcome without my input in the system, right? And you look at it state to union, or you look at it state to village. It's this notion that in a democracy, there should be some participation and right to self-determination. Also, I think, as KTR pointed out, Ambedkar itself saw this as a function of time. If you look around the world, with economic progress, with increase in population, with increased education levels, you will see greater and greater devolution of power. You will see greater and greater, kind of flow down of decision making, because you get decision making closer to the people. That has 1,000 advantages, but that's how the rest of the world has gone. We started in a very unusual place, as many have pointed out. The words were there, but the design or the intention was not actually evident. I guess we could have gone the way of most of the world and started to see more devolution, more self-determination. In fact, we have seen the exact opposite. Particularly in the fiscal space, almost all direct taxation is with the union. That's very unique in the world. No other country has that much control. If you don't have any input into direct taxation, that means you don't have any right to determine whether you should be a progressive taxation regime or a regressive. All we get to do, at least we used to get to do, was set the sales taxes and the point of sale taxes and the regressive indirect taxes. Now even that we've sacrificed for the GST. So effectively, we have almost no control in the nature of revenue raising for the country. Are we really a socialist country? Are we really taking taxes from those who can afford to pay and using it to provide public goods and services and supporting those who, have fallen behind? We don't have an adequate say into that system, number one. Number two, it used to be that 2/3 of the spending was directed by the states. Maybe, I don't know. Right now, that's not true, because the way the union government diverts things into cesses and surcharges and then names all these schemes, PM this and, something, and then they say we do partial funding the first year, and then they shift the funding to us the second year, and by the fourth year, we still have to call it PM something, but 100% of the funds come from us. So if you look at the percentage of devolution that comes through share of taxes compared to what comes through grants and schemes decided by the center, and increasingly in this regime, named after one individual in the center, then we have lost that independence or that self-determination or that participation as well. So in every way, from a fiscal perspective, from revenue raising, 90% now with the GST Council there, and with spending increasingly there, even though we are the administrators of that spending, they get to design how it should get done, then they get to ask for all kinds of data, then they get to say, no, you qualify, don't qualify. So I would say India started in the wrong place in terms of federalism and has regressed aggressively in the last 8 years or so.